education for me is gaining knowledge to better your life in any way.
I do see it more as a system where you go to gain knowledge.
I mean, I kept the definition broad because I feel like it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, you're getting knowledge to, let's say, be more financially stable or something like that. It's generally just like gaining knowledge to better your life holistically, whether that's your mental health. I guess the more you know, the better it is for yourself in general as well. Like, you know better how to interact with society.
Do you guys think that there is certain knowledge that is required for better interaction with society?
But that also depends on the environment you are in, because some environments may be more flexible than the other ones. So for example, there's some fields that may lead you to succeed. So for the case of back home, I was able to notice, and also that's something that my parents always use on me, is that if you want to find a good job, you need to have at least an undergrad. But now, the way things are going, for you to actually get a really good job, you need to have an undergrad and a postgraduate. I was able to notice for the case of Western countries, it's a little bit different, because even if you don't have a post and an undergraduate, you can still get a decent job.
If I say the word mass schooling, what first comes to your mind?
A large institution.
With people,
They have a lot of people.
A lot of people in the institution.
Do you think you'd put our education systems in the mass schooling category or education category?
Mass schooling.
I'd say both, but I'm not clear what exactly mass schooling is.
Mass schooling is to gather a mass of the population and you school them, not necessarily educate them. And mass schooling, in the way it started, has colonial origins. So it was a way of societal control, and it was a way of promoting the idea of a nation state. Like, one of the first things we do when we go to school is that we listen to the national anthem in the morning, for example. Mass schooling is a system, as you said, which is a very important keyword in this, that teaches us to basically be the same, be set for certain paths, be just in a state of ingestion of everything that is communicated to us without necessarily critical thinking or questioning, because critical thinking and questioning knowledge is something that is really more towards the education.
I would categorize us mostly within education.
I characterized it as mass schooling because looking at most of public schools in my country, you see a huge number of people there, but then people in those schools are really not learning anything. I went to a private school, but the private school was part of the national curriculum. Most of my final exams for grade 10 and grade 8, because private schools in my country are not allowed to, they're the own exams. We had to go to the public schools to do our exams. So that's so interesting to see when I would go there to do my exams, the teachers that would be in the classroom to check the students. I remember like 30 minutes before the exam is about to end, me and my classmates, we would be done already with the exam, just waiting for the time to end so that we could leave. They would come to our tables and ask us to help the people in that school.
That's exactly the same in Egypt. I went to a national curriculum private school as well. That happened, the exact same thing.
I feel like maybe I'm talking from a privileged point of view, but I do feel like times have changed, whereas before, like maybe like my parents' day, most people would go to government schools, whereas now majority of the people, even whatever economic class they are, will find their way into a private institution. It just depends on what you're looking for, because you can really find private schools more lower income households can afford, because at this point in time, Nigeria and public schools, I don't think nobody goes to those type of schools apart from if you generally don't have any money, but it's not stable enough for people to go to, because like teachers are always on strike, like nobody's getting paid, the facilities are literally rundown buildings. That's why I say like it's more education, because it's become sort of like a business for most people who end up starting schools, because although like they're Nigerian exams, they're still able to create a curriculum for themselves, whether it's like you're doing the American system or the British system or the Nigerian system. So people even mix the systems as well, a lot more flexibility with what you're looking for your child. I kind of experienced all of it, but it went from Nigerian to American, and then I came here. The American schools, I guess we learned more about American history as well, whereas the Nigerian schools, we learned more about things within our countries. Like, I've never gone to an American school and they taught agriculture. That was a requirement. I had to take Hausa as tribal languages in the Nigerian schools, whereas like in the American schools, it was more Western.
I don't really mind helping people. That's the thing. So, and something that always comes in my mind whenever someone asks me for an answer during exams is that either way, if you give it, if you don't give it, you already put it your answer on they cheat. If you give it to the person, nothing is going to change on your side. I mean, that if you don't get caught.
Not necessarily collaborative with a teacher, but I feel like sometimes they would do certain things like leave the classroom when everybody's gonna cheat. In my boarding school, the one that I went to, that was Nigerian system. It just depended on the teacher. Some teachers would literally leave. Some of them would even tell you the answers.